also went ahead and expanded the pig pen so they wouldn't start dying from entity cramming.
I think I'm done.
On day 15, Hobby finally finished the grinning and began to help out with the big dig. It's about time he pulled his weight. We got our 7th iron, and as the local difficulty began increasing, mobs started dropping better armor and tools. Like on day 16, we got an iron shovel drop. Each time this happened, we would craft it with our old shovel and get a little boost in durability. While Hobby expanded the pig pen yet again, I kept mob farming and finally got our 8th iron. Hobby got one of the ingots with 96 zombie kills, while I got the other 7 with only 261 zombie kills. Maybe I'm wrong, but the odds of this seem truly astronomical, so I'd love it if some math whiz would do the calculations in the comments. I went ahead and crafted the cauldron with the 7 ingots. We need it because each time it rains, there will be a chance of getting 1 level of water in the cauldron. After 3 times, we'll be able to take the water out with a bucket and finally have water in our world, which we're gonna use for a bunch of things. You'll see. Hobby spent day 17 digging, and I continued mob farming to try to get the 3 iron we need for a bucket. I didn't get any iron, but I managed to get a full set of armor and sticks from witches, which we can use to craft things like tools. On day 18, I helped Hobby out with the big dig, and we finished one of the quadrants of our circle. The next day, Hobby began working on our future sheep farm. Since our block palette is so limited and structural is super flat, we really wanted to use wool to decorate our base. While he did that, I continued to dig, breed our pigs, and farm mobs. I got redstone from a witch and another iron sword, which was great for quickly clearing out mobs from our farm. On day 20, I managed to get the first iron ingot for the bucket, and Hobby blew his bed. He then went out and looked for sheep while I worked on the big dig, and he returned with the sheep just in time for bed. We had successfully made it a 5th of the way through our challenge. Our next big hurdle would be getting rain in our cauldron. From day 21 to 30, our main tasks were digging the hole and breeding our pigs. On day 22, we decided to let our pigs out of their pen because they were once again dying of entity cramming, and we were making good progress on our hole. Oh yeah, and these guys showed up. We spent all of day 23 digging, and by day 24, we had finished half our circle. At this point, we were pretty burnt out on digging, so Hobby went to go work on the sheep farm some more, and I began crafting all our bones into bone blocks so we could start decorating our base. After that much needed break, we got back to digging. We spent all of day 25, but then we were interrupted on day 26 by rain. At this point, we decided to use a strategy we refer to as save scumming. See, cauldrons filling up with rain is very rare. I couldn't find out how rare on the wiki, but from experience, it often takes multiple rainstorms just to get one layer. So we made a backup and reset our game over and over until we were able to get our first rain layer. Yes, dude, finally! Now we just needed it to rain 2 more times and we'd have our water. The next day I managed to get the 2nd iron needed for our bucket, and we made some more progress on the big dig. We were finally getting close to finishing the digging, so we spent all of day 28 digging as much as possible. On the morning of day 29, we were about to take down the final wall and let the pigs roam free when it miraculously started raining again. And what's even better, we got another rain layer without even having to reset a single time. On day 30, we were officially finished with the big dig, and Hobby got the 3rd iron for our bucket. We were now almost a third of the way through the challenge, and neither of us had died a single time. I had mined 3,949 dirt and 2,060 grass for a total of 6,009 blocks, putting me just ahead of Hobby with a total of 5,749. We were just about done with the early game struggle of this challenge and getting ready to enter the mid game. With our hole complete, Hobby spent day 31 working on the sheep farm cells while I attended to our pigs. By the end of day 32, Hobby was almost done with the outline of the sheep farm, until he realized that he built the circle wrong. I spent the day making fun of him and breeding the pigs again.
All comes tumbling down. Tumbling down.
The next 2 days were more of the same, as Hobby slowly fleshed out the sheep farm and I worked on filling our hole with pigs. At this point, there were just so many pigs that getting enough food to breed them took up most of the day. On day 35, we took a break and the 2 of us sat down and planned out where we wanted all the different colors to go. With the colors all planned out, it was time to start breeding the sheep, so we worked on that all throughout day 36 while tending the pigs and the mob farm in the background. Oh, also a wandering trader showed up, but without any emeralds to buy from him, he was kind of just there to torment us. And for some reason, he only had one of his llamas with him. On day 37, I got another iron shovel drop, which was nice to have, and Hobby and I began to discuss where we should put a pool for fishing once we got our last water layer. On day 38, more pillagers showed up, and after murdering them and stealing their banner for decorating purposes, I began to dye all the sheep finally. And by day 39, we had every color of sheep except for dark gray and black, which we would need to go to our spawn chunks for since we needed them to spawn in naturally. We also finally spotted where the trader's 2nd llama ended up. We were feeling like we had made very little progress in the past 10 days until on day 40, it started to rain. Hobby! Come quick!
Oh my god.
After many resets, we had our last water layer and we were about to have so much to do. These were probably the most uneventful 10 days yet, but now that we finally had water, everything was about to change. We went ahead and used our bucket to remove the water from the cauldron and then used water bottles dropped from witches to fill the cauldron back up, allowing us to take a 2nd water source and create an infinite water pool. On day 41, I began building our fishing pond. Fishing would provide us with some cool stuff like saddles, name tags, and lily pads, but we would also need fish to eventually trade for emeralds. Since we already had a barrel and the number of villager professions we can get in Structuralist is very limited, the fisherman villager would be an obvious choice to trade with. Meanwhile, Hobby added an attachment to our mob farm that converts zombies into